Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, yes, subscribe, because we're gonna talk about one of the best books ever. I say that all the time, but it's the truth though. I really like this book. We're gonna talk about 7 Days in June it's a novel by Tia Williams. Try to get it done now. Okay, let's get into it. Okay. This book was amazing. I give it a 9.5. 9.5 out of 10. That's good. Yeah, 9.5 out of 10. I like it because this book, when I got this book, it kind of like called to me. I'm like, let me just read this book. So I clicked it, and my birthday's in June 3rd, Gemini. So I'm like, why not just read this? My birthday's in June, why not read it? So I got this, and I knew it was gonna be steamy. I know it was gonna be like a lot of, steam. But when I started to read this, I fell in love with it since the first chapter. And that takes a lot from books. Sometimes books start getting good at chapter 2. This book was doing phenomenal. Chapter 1. Really the first few pages. Now, I didn't finish reading the book. I'm done. I didn't read the, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I didn't read this part. The epilogue, whatever. The epilogue, whatever that is. So I didn't, read that yet, but I've technically finished the book. So, let's get into it, okay? I'm pulling up my notes because I made a lot of notes. I'm in like a solo book club. I'm in a solo book club because I don't read chapters like every day. I take breaks because these chapters are very heavy. I like to soak it in. So, yeah. Let's start off with chapter 1. Oh, actually, yeah, let's go with chapter 1. Ava was a college dropout. She got a 6-figure book deal and stuff like that. One thing I've noticed within chapter 1 is that she noticed all along that she was like she says it in the book, but she was a misfit. She didn't really get to what's the word? Like she knew she just wasn't the same as the people around her, and I could relate a lot to that. Cause me and her kind of like low key, we're not the same, but like I can relate. She's sickly and stuff like that. She has to be very careful, cause she's a very sickly person. So she has to be careful what she do because, she has stuff. She has problems, and I can relate a lot to that because I can't just hang out with just anybody else, like how she is. Her daughter, Andra, my name is DeAndre, her daughter name is Audra, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're like twins. Like, she just always noticed that she just never fit in with everybody, and I just related a lot to that. I'm like, wow, where was this book all my life, So, she talked a lot about that, and in chapter 1, it's just, she talked a lot about she can't drink alcohol, she can't jump in a pool. Sometimes she feels like she's an alien. She just feels like she's not a human. She keeps her sickness private, and I can relate a lot to that. I have asthma and stuff like that, and I'm on Coumadin, so I didn't really tell people around me like, hey, I have asthma, even though I need to. I do now, but I can relate a lot to her because in the past I just never really acknowledged that I had asthma and stuff like that. I just never really made that acknowledgeable with the people around me. That's kind of how she did. Later in the book, I'm gonna get to that, but later in the book, stuff changes, but I can relate a lot to that. Yeah. Let me see. And then in the book, she loves her book, like she loves her books, she loves them down. But she's grew out of it. She kind of grew out of writing about the two characters, Gia and from her cursed book. She got tired of it because she's getting tired of writing about teenagers, And she just want to kind of move on. But the reason why she didn't really move on from it because it was making good money, you know. And I feel sorry for that because a lot of people do that a lot. They kind of write a lot of these books and keep going with it when they know damn well these books need to be ended, but they keep going with it because it's a good buck. And I think she lives in New York, so New York is expensive. Does she live in New York? I think she does. So New York is expensive. So she had to do what she had to do to keep up with money. It was her and her daughter. She had no man. You know, she has an ex-husband, but that's it. It was only her and her daughter. You know. So yeah. Okay. I'm moving around a lot with the book. I'm moving around because it's just too much. Let's talk about her daughter Audra. I think it's Audra. Audra, she's like one of the highlight of this book. This girl is so funny. She's such an old soul. Like, she's such an old soul. It's just for the fact that she was giving these kids at her school, like, being a fake therapist, like a school therapist. And she was like being a therapist. Ava walked into that house and went to that room because she had a babysitter, but the babysitter was watching her. She walked into that room. She saw a full group of kids in that room. Ava was like, "Excuse me," and Audra was like, "Oh, I'm doing therapy sessions. I'm getting them advice." I'm like, "Girl," it's funny because she does give good advice. She gives good advice more than the teachers do. I think I made that in my notes. She gives good advice more than the teachers do. And Ava kind of hated that, and I kind of understand why Ava hated that. You know, like, you know, you don't need to be doing that in school. But to be honest, I kind of relate a lot with Ava with how she was telling Audra about that, because a lot of these kids, you think they like, oh, thank you for the advice. They will tell a teacher on you or get you in trouble. And that later happened in the book. Audra got in trouble because she was talking about these two teachers, I think, and teachers like snitched on her and almost ruined her, I think, her private school scholarship. Not a scholarship, but she could have got expelled. Luckily, she didn't. But yeah, so I kind of understood why she said Ava was like mad about her about that. But overall, love the Audra. It's just the thing I hated in the beginnings of the book is that's why I kind of get the book a 9.5, because towards the end of the book, I don't think Ava even, like, I was reading it, she never really, I don't know if it's a part 2, but Ava never really told Audra that Lizette is not like like, she's just not this perfect woman, because Lizette is she's an MF. She's such an MF, because you had your daughter in this house. Y'all staying together, right? Ava didn't mind what her mama was doing. Her mama had to do to make money. But you know where you messed up at, Lizette? You have a grown man in this house. You sleep. Your daughter has to go to school, right? Felt so sorry for her. This dude was trying to get up on her and stuff like that. Luckily, Ava got herself out of that situation. And it was her first day of school, and I felt so sorry for her for that. She had to, like, move her way out, and it's like, Ava told you, Lizette, that's why I don't like you. She told you that you need to stop bringing these men over to this house. She told you that. She told you this numerous times. But you keep doing it. This is why your daughter just can't stand you. I get Lizette was a handful, but I wish Ava would have just told her, Audra, the truth, her daughter. I don't think she did. I don't know. But I just wish she would have told her the truth, because you keep making up these lies, saying that Lizette's just this god. She's not. She's really terrible. She was a terrible mother, because when I'm gonna wait for that. I'm gonna talk about it in a minute. It's just Lizette was just a terrible, terrible mother. Terrible. Now let's talk about Ava and Shane, the main two top characters. I kind of glad that they're not together. I mean, I don't know if they are, because I didn't read the epilogue, but kind of glad that they didn't really work, because even though it's just, I kind of did want them to work. I did. They're just so cute, but I don't think Shane will he ever be ready? I don't think so. it's just, sometimes you might think somebody's your soulmate, and it could be, but sometimes they're just better off being your friend. And I feel like with Ava and Shane, yes, they seem like they're a great couple. They just seem like they just better off being friends. They are soulmate friends, like best friends. And they was friends at first, so it's like it was kind of meant for them to be just friends, I feel like. But yeah, let's get to the part. In the book, they went into this nap place. I guess adults go there to take a nap. They went into this place, right? Y'all, they got busy. They got busy. I got so hot. Let me see what chapter that was. But I got so hot, y'all. I got so hot. Ooh, what chapter was this? It gotta be around. I don't know what chapter it was in. Ooh, chapter 15. Y'all, I got hot. They was getting freaky. Ooh, they got busy. I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But I would say, I love Shane because he brought Ava out of her shell. He did. That's what I'm saying. He came at the right time because Ava was just still in her shell. Like, he brought a lot out of her. So I give him that. But yeah. During a high school era, Shane was just such a bad boy. He was breaking his arm just to break it because he I think something happened. Something happened when he was a foster child. He was at his foster family house and he broke his arm, and his mother, foster mom, rushed to the hospital, but they ended up getting in an accident. He ended up surviving, but she didn't. So he kind of just kept breaking his arms, going to juvie. He just was such a bad kid because he always thought it was just his fault. And that's why I really do feel like he needs to really go to therapy a lot, because a lot of his actions, he always made it feel like everything was his fault. In reality, it just was not. And it's like, he has to realize that, but it's not clicking in his head just yet. It's clicking, but it's not clicking. It's like this. It's like this. So, yeah. So, Ava and him, got together or whatnot, right? During high school, they was like Bonnie and Clyde. Because Ava got in this fight. I think it was her first day of school. She got in a fight with this girl, and Shane stuck up for her and stuff like that. He was beating this person up, not the girl, but this guy. He just beat him up. They end up being in the hospital. They end up leaving the hospital because Lizette she didn't show up. She didn't, so they stayed in this ancient home. He knew this girl, and she let him stay there, crash, because he had the good stuff. They end up staying together and stuff like that. But when a few days passed, right? This happened later in the book. We finally got the answer. Because Ava thought Shane just ran away. She just shot, because Shane was a runner. He was a runner. I told you he ran from everything. She thought Shane just ran from everything, right? She just thought he just ran. Girl. So he called Ava's mom because Ava wasn't responding. He thought she was dead. She wasn't dead, but he thought she was dead. And he called Lizette, and Lizette came there, and Lizette ended up calling the cops on him. He ended up going to juvie, and then Ava went to a psych ward. But Lizette didn't tell her that, though. You get what I'm saying? And I want to talk about that because Shane was like, I didn't run. Your mom sent me to jail. And Ava was pissed at that. She called her mom. She was like, oh, mom, tell me the truth. She told her the truth. But one thing I'm mad about with Lizette, the whole time she was talking with Ava, she just was like, oh, what if Audra did that? Oh, what if Audra? She just kept repeatedly saying Audra's name. And it's like, why you keep repeating it? Now you're pissing me off. Why you keep trying to make her feel bad? Trying to make it like, oh, if Audra did this, you would be mad at her. If Audra did this, you would be mad at her. And Audra's just not that type of girl. You get what I'm saying? That's how I know you don't know your child and you don't know your grandchild as much as you say you do. You just don't. You barely even come around. Because barely in the chapters, never saw Lizette show up. Lizette did show up to Lydia Awards, I didn't see her. She was just non-existent. Because all Lizette cared about was making a star. And she kind of looked at like Ava low-key as a disappointment to me. But yeah, I was mad at that. Ooh, just was mad. But I kind of glad that Ava and Shane, like, they kind of had like their end game. It was cute. But towards the end of the book, they kind of became a couple, but they didn't. They did. But it was at like this event. It was at Cece's place. Hold on, with Cece. Cece, she just need to mind her business. This girl was in everybody's business. She just was in Ava's. This was in Ava's business. This girl just needed to mind her business. She did it. So, Audra and Shane kind of got to know each other. Audra really, really liked him. The thing I was mad about him with is that after like that party, because he was supposed to go with Ava and Audra to this restaurant for like Audra's last day in New York before she go to California with her dad. He never showed up because he ran home. He just thought he wasn't good enough. He just thought he was wasting his time, and it kind of pissed me off because it's like that's why I said they just not meant to be. He keep thinking he's just not good for her. In reality, he is, and it's just like he just doesn't see himself. So, yeah. But I love Shane because he did get out of his alcoholism. He did what's better in his life, but it goes to show you that they was better off just friends because he just was doing so much better without Ava. Kind of glad they made up and talked a lot about it, but they just was better off being friends. So sorry what happened to Ty. He ended up dying. Shane told him not to go to the studio, but Ty had a dream and he just wanted to do anything in his power to make sure this dream came through. He didn't listen to Shane. But he was calling Shane when because Ty was at this place. He's calling Shane. Shane just didn't answer because he was happy with Audra and Ava at this place, at this event. So that's another thing. He thought he was, Shane thought he was bad. He just thought he was just a bad person with that. In reality, you weren't. But he just thought it was his fault, but it just wasn't. So yeah, rest in peace to Ty, stuff like that. This was sad. It was very sad. Y'all, this book is jam-packed. Will I ever read this book again? Yes, in like a year or so. Because I think there's more books to this collection. I don't know, but I want to read more of her books. But overall, I'm going to close. I'm glad at the end, when it was at the Lydia Awards, I'm glad that Ava, took her power back. I'm glad she did. Because when Shane left her again, it just unlocked. Something shifted in her. She's like, you know what? She was like, something shifted in her. She's like, you know what? Forget this man. Forget him. I'm gonna put me first. And that's what she did. Because I'm glad she did. Because, also at the event, she found a new director for her movie. Because she was gonna have this director do for her books. She was gonna have this director make her book a movie. But she was gonna change the characters to white people. I was mad as hell to Ava because it's like, don't be a sellout. Don't be no sellout. Just don't. She ended up not being it. So thank God. But I'm like, I'm just glad that director came through. But I'm just glad that she put herself first, because that's what I'm saying. Shane came into her life at a perfect timing. Because it's like, he brought something out of her again. And it's like this time it brought her power. She started to tell people around her, look, I got this sickness. She started to be more transparent with her daughter. She started to realize she doesn't want to make a book 15. She want to make this book about her and her family. She ain't even told her to do that anyway. She just got her power back. And I'm so proud of her. She just so proud. Because I love when a character in books and in movies, etc., realize their worth. And Ava realized her worth. I'm so happy with her with that. She got onto that stage. She was like, I know you guys, I wanted a book 15, but I'm not going to make a book 15. I'm gonna make a book that I've always wanted to make. And she just started to focus more on herself. I'm so happy with her with that. And like she said in that podium, after getting her award, she said that she was a misfit. And I relate a lot to that because I'm a misfit. That's why I love this book so much, because I'm like, I never related to so much to these characters. I relate a lot to Shane, not with everything, but like running away from your problems, thinking you're not good enough, thinking everything is your fault. I relate a lot to that. Relate a lot to Audra, her daughter. Just kind of be such an advice person. I love giving advice. Just love it. Stopped it kind of a lot, but like, to y'all, my subscribers, I love giving y'all advice. That's different. But like, yeah. So overall, this was my review of the book. Book was good, phenomenal, amazing. I see why it was a bestseller. I just see it, and yeah, go get this book. Go get it at Target. It's 20% off at Target, and it's selling like I think this was like the last one. So go get this book. Let me know what y'all think, and yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Peace.